Meteorologically speaking, it was an unusual storm.
And I know you'll agree with me on this. By far, the biggest thing that comes to mind is the track, that hard left-hand hook, that track to the west. As you know, when most of our storms are at that latitude, they're either accelerating north, northeast, or due east. And to have that almost hairpin turn west towards the mid-Atlantic, research has shown that that's happened maybe, like once every couple of hundred years. It's just highly unusual, that path. And it just proves it, and we try to reiterate this all the time, is that while we're all concentrated on where the center of the storm will go, weather is well in advance of the center of the storm. And that was a classic example with Sandy, which made landfall in New Jersey, and yet you're gusting to hurricane force and westerly with cottages washing away in westerly. So while we all want to know where the center of the storm is going to be located, the wind field can expand many miles away from the center itself. So it's not just a pinpoint on the map, but rather a large three-dimensional storm.
And Sandy was huge.
900 miles in diameter. So as the storm transitioned from what we call tropical to extratropical, the wind field expands. So the diameter is 900 miles. So it's battering areas hundreds of miles away from the center, including here in southern New England, coastal Massachusetts, coastal Maine. It really covered a lot of real estate. A couple of things. One is that when it comes to storm surge, it's not necessarily the strength of the storm, but as you mentioned, also the size, the diameter, the angle of which the storm makes landfall. So many storms that approach the coastline kind of perpendicular, like it did in New Jersey, like it did with Ian, 38 hurricane, Hurricane Carol here in southern New England, these perpendicular approaches. That makes all the difference in the world as far as storm surge. When it comes to the topography of the coastline, specifically Long Island Sound, and how that water is, and that's due to geography, how that water is funneled from east to west down Long Island Sound and like towards the Battery in New York City. You've got 14 feet of water. So it's not just the strength of the storm, it's the size, it's the angle of attack that the center is making landfall. It's the geography of the coastline, all and the high tide, low tide, all of that comes into play. A snowstorm. Not too many people remember that Sandy was also a snowstorm in the mountains of West Virginia, 36 inches of snow as it interacted with cold air. It was such an unusual storm and so many things that it brought, including winter weather. So, we're getting gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour inland, but along the coastline, we're gusting to 70. We're gusting as high as, I believe, 86 miles per hour, maybe even higher out in Westerly. Westerly was sort of ground zero as far as the real significant damage along our coastline. As I mentioned, some cottages washed away, significant storm surge. I hadn't seen anything like that damage-wise and surge-wise really since Bob in '91. So it was a long time, but the impacts were very significant, especially in the southwest part of the state. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, and I'm sure you are as well. So the last landfalling hurricane, no tropical systems, but last landfalling hurricane is Bob in '91. The last major hurricane, Category 3, Hurricane Carol. So in 1954, I almost said 3. And you think about it, there's a whole generation of people here that haven't seen a Category 3 hurricane. And think about the population and the buildup of homes and property since Hurricane Carol, and how our coastline has changed both in terms of development and population, and we haven't seen a storm like that since '54. It concerns me that maybe the younger generation will be complacent when the real one does come. So you're right, we're long overdue. I learned that anything is possible. I mean, if you had told me that a hurricane or a storm was going to, a hurricane was going to make that hard left-hand turn off the mid-Atlantic coastline, I would have said, what? It's so unusual. And what's interesting, though, is that one of our long-range computer models, and we've mentioned it on television before, the European model, was one of the first ones to sort of red flag maybe 2-3 days in advance that the storm was going to take that hard left-hand turn. And it did. So it proved to me that in meteorology, as rare as something can be, it can happen. And Sandy was a good example of that.